Hey guys, we made it! Yes, Friday, or Friday as we like to call it around here. Welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. I'm your host, Guy Lambert. Let's get to it so we can get away. Enjoy the weekend. Coming up on the show, well, it's somewhat official. President Trump, to a certain extent, issuing a federal takeover. Well, maybe not. We'll break it all down for you. And then how about we talk a little lights, camera, action. In this case, the actress on the new movie, Sight, in theaters today. She's going to stop by to tell us all about it. All that and more coming up on the show, but first, you want to hear all about the weather, don't you? That's why we bring in this guy. Tucker Barnes joining us right here on the Live Zone.
Friday, everybody's in a good
Woo-hoo!
mood. Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on this weekend?
To do a high five. Okay. Brother celebrating a birthday, sister celebrating a birthday, and
good.
That means I have to go shopping, I guess, and buy them presents.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Hope they're not watching because I haven't done it yet.
Okay, well, you got time. You got time. You gonna watch any of the Commanders game?
Oh, that's tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, 1:30 we'll have John Booting on to chit chat just about
good.
that.
Good.
So excited about that.
Love
as well.
that guy.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a good guy. Okay, your Friday afternoon forecast couldn't be nicer. Perfect for out and about and all things outdoor related here into the evening hours. We don't have rain in the forecast. We have temperatures in the comfortable department. Dew points. That's measuring your humidity in the 60s, means for this time of year, really nice conditions.
Okay. I love it, Tucker. It's beautiful.
Everybody's
outside.
been loving it, yeah. My tip jar is not loving it enough. That's the only complaint I have. We got to work on that together. Okay, satellite radars featuring a few clouds. We did have some fog if you're up early with us. And this afternoon, we will be partly to mostly sunny, dry. Head down to the beaches, great weekend. Bay looks great, mountains fantastic. Everybody looks good. Low to mid 80s for your afternoon hours. Happy hour. Thinking about you. You look good. And then going out this evening, we will be nice and quiet. So, if you're a person that's, hanging at the club late at night.
Not me.
2, 3 in the morning.
Why are you looking at me, Tucker?
Closing it down. Guy, I know about you, man. You got like a secret side. You're out there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you're not Guy when you're out there. You're somebody else,
There
but
you
you're
go.
out. Okay, satellite and radar. Maybe I'm just having fantasies. It's me.
Living vicariously through
Yes.
me.
Those days are over for me. Okay, yes, great weekend. Saturday, fabulous. Sunshine, temps in the low to mid 80s again. Sunday, plenty of sunshine, temps in the mid to upper 80s. All of those temperatures below normal. Most importantly, no thunderstorm activity, no big rainers this weekend. We should be dry all weekend long as we continue to enjoy nice conditions around here. It is going to get hot next week, and I'm watching the tropics. They may get active too. So back to that summertime pattern, and we'll be watching the tropics by the end of next week. But let's worry about that a couple days down the road. And again, nothing terrible next week, just kind of back to reality here with temps in the 90s by certainly by Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and our storm chances will be back. But fabulous weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, perfect.
I absolutely love it. I think we need some more enthusiasm, Tucker. That's a perfect weekend.
Okay.
All right,
Put your money where your mouth is, guy. That spells enthusiasm from me.
Tucker
Have a great weekend.
Barnes, all things weather. Hey guys, if you haven't already done so, make sure you download the Fox Local app and take that forecast with you on the go. All right, well, some of the stories we're following for you this hour. A man has died after jumping from a high-rise balcony this morning in Alexandria as FBI agents attempted to serve him an arrest warrant. The incident occurred just after 6 a.m. in the 4300 block of King Street. Police say the man jumped from the 15th floor. He died at the scene. At this hour, an investigation continues. Well, D.C. police have released photos of the person wanted in an attempted carjacking and assault in Northwest D.C. that took place on Sunday. Several suspects demanded a vehicle from Edward Korstein, a former official in the Trump administration, and his friend while on Swan Street. 2 15-year-olds were taken into custody, but the third suspect remains at large. Those teens are now facing carjacking charges. The suspect in the deadly Capitol Jewish Museum shooting is in court today. Earlier this week, Elias Rodriguez was indicted on federal hate crime charges. As a result, he could face the death penalty if convicted. 2 Israeli embassy employees died in the shooting. Rodriguez was caught on camera yelling, "Free Palestine," following that shooting. Switching gears to politics, President Trump appears to be making strides on his threat of a possible takeover of the nation's capital. The latest move by the White House to bring the city's crime under control. Meanwhile, as Trump's deadline for Russia comes due, the White House now preparing for a one-on-one with Vladimir Putin. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Madeline Somerville back here on the Live Zone. Happy Friday, Madeline. Good to see you. All right, so it's the big story of the day, at least right here in the nation's capital, Madeline. Let's start with the White House, which has increased law enforcement presence, which includes the U.S. Capitol Police, Homeland Security investigators, DEA, the ATF, U.S. Marshal Service, and so much more. Now, the plan will run for 7 days with the option to extend as needed under Trump's earlier executive order. This is all a part of his Making D.C. Safe and Beautiful task force. Federal officers will be clearly identified operating in marked units with high visibility. So, Madeline, the question remains from a legal perspective, what can they do and cannot do right here in the nation's capital?
So what they can do, they can increase police presence. Because of home rule, which I know y'all have talked about on the show before, Congress actually has oversight over what laws get passed there. There's a mayor, there's a city council, and usually those folks are the ones who are handling things. However, when it comes to police presence and when it comes to calling in the National Guard, the president can do that. Now, let's put this into a larger context quickly. So actually, back in February, there was a congressman from Georgia who introduced something called the Bowser Act, which is like bringing oversight to Washington, D.C. So this is something that they've been planning to do from the beginning. This horrific accident, or this horrific tragedy that happened, was sort of an excuse to implement this. And it makes me sad that it's been politicized in this way because the guy was being a hero who was assaulted. But I think it's important to remember the larger context politically always.
Yeah. You know, it's one of the interesting things, Madeline, and I didn't think about it until I was listening to a podcast earlier today. From a federal perspective, we all know that the marijuana has been, in essence, legalized right here in the nation's capital from a recreational standpoint. However, there are certain places within the district, I would make mention of those round traffic circles, which happens to be federal property yet again, where you are not allowed to, in essence, consume marijuana. With these federal law officials now, in essence, out and about, should one be concerned if, let's say, they happen to be partaking with regard to that and, well, been approached by a federal officer?
That is a great question. And it reminds me of when gay marriage was just passed and people weren't sure because it was allowed federally whether their marriages were recognized in different states. And I think it's really going to have to depend. That's going to be one of the issues where something's going to happen. They're going to have to go to court, and the court's going to have to make a decision about it in terms of what's going to be respected in terms of law here and there. Congress is going to have to make a change, or a judge is going to have to decide on what a rule already means.
That's what's happening right here in the nation's capital. Let's move to the Lone Star State. Of course, I'm referring to Texas, where today is the day Texas State House Speaker is set a deadline for the Democrats who fled the state to return to the chamber and help establish a quorum. This as Dems involved continue to cry foul over the proposed redistricting lines. Now, if they do not return, the House Speaker would seek court rulings ensuring their seats are declared vacant. What do you think is going to happen with this?
It's really hard to say, but from a legal perspective, the governor can do that. He can go through the AG, the attorney general, to the court to try to get them removed for vacating their seats. In the meantime, he could appoint someone, or they would host a special election to replace that person. Now, redistricting is allowed in between when they conduct the census. It's supposed to be done every 10 years in order to reflect the changing demographics of the state. It would be one thing, right? Because you can do it for political reasons. It would be one thing if President Trump or the governor had said, we're doing this because the demos have changed so much. But they didn't. They said, find me 5 seats, right? Which is kind of reminiscent of the Raffensperger, find me 11,000 votes. But regardless, they are legally allowed to do this. And so the only response really that Dems have in this context is to leave. It's been done before in Texas. It's written in their constitution. It's an option. And I think it's going to please the Dem base because the problem that a lot of Dems have had recently is, what are you doing, right? What is it that what action are you taking?
Sure.
This is something. So maybe this is an action to please the base, because you know that they have to come back anyways, and they're going to have to vote on it either way.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how all of that will unfold should something occur during our show. Obviously, we'll take you there live right here on the Live Zone. Let's move on to the issue that's taking place overseas. In this case, I'm making reference to Ukraine. As Trump's deadline for Russia comes due, the White House now preparing for a possible summit with none other than Vladimir Putin. Madeline, what in essence really needs to happen in order for this summit to be dubbed a success?
So there's a couple of factors going on here, and my sources tell me that usually when there is a summit, there's an agreement that has already been reached or almost reached by the time that the summit takes place in person, right? They've discussed it a little bit first. And so I'm hoping that they have reached a certain amount of sorry, I'm just getting a quick echo here. I'm hoping that they've reached an agreement in terms of what they're allowed to give away for on the behalf of Ukraine, and that President Putin's willing to accept that. So it's really going to come down to what concessions is Ukraine really willing to make, and what is Putin willing to accept. It's all going to come back to that. With the tariffs, it's not that big of a deal. I know the issue with Iran is relevant, right? Because Iran gets a lot of their oil, and India get a lot of their oil from Russia, and so that might be a part of the conversation as well. But hopefully they will have worked a lot of this out before they meet in person. Sorry about the feedback there.
Oh, no, not on our end. Perhaps just within your headphones. Let's bring it closer to home. In this case, back here in the nation's capital, where earlier yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order directing federal regulators to punish banks that illegally discriminate against conservatives with fines and other penalties. This is really escalating his administration's campaign against debanking. The order calls on the Treasury Department and federal banking regulators to take action to prevent banks from cutting off customers for political reasons. Your response to that?
So, in general, right, discrimination, very bad. But from a legal perspective, there's so much wrong with this executive order, you could teach a law school class on it. So in our law, we have what's called protected classes, and that's how the Supreme Court looks at whether or not discrimination has taken place to a degree where there needs to be intervention in a private or public space. So essentially what Trump has done here is create a protected class like we have for race or gender or sexuality. We've got Trump supporter now for a protected class. And obviously that's just in the executive order and hasn't been implemented, nationally and recognized by the Supreme Court because the case came through it. But we've got that problem as well. And then also, it's difficult for me to see how intervention in private business on the part of Republicans is something that they would stand for, because usually they try to create a space there. But I think it's part of the overall goal of making sure that people who support Trump aren't being targeted. It's sort of this reverse DEI initiative that's been going on.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Yet again, that executive order signed yesterday afternoon. We'll end with this, Madeline, and that is, well, somewhat perplexing and somewhat concerning at the same time, and that is younger adults are less engaged with U.S. politics. While 9 in 10 older adults say voting is very important, only 6 in 10 adults actually agree. Younger adults are half as likely than older adults to follow U.S. politics closely, which perhaps means they're not watching us right now, Madeline.
Well, that's okay, because we're reeling them in. We're making it more and more interesting and exciting every day. But I understand. A lot of people think that their vote doesn't matter. And the Electoral College doesn't make a whole lot of sense to pretty much anybody. So it's difficult to explain to somebody, yeah, you vote for an elector who then votes for you, right? It's too complicated for a kid or an older adult. It doesn't really matter. I think the issue here is going to be less are they following the day-to-day and more do they show up for the midterms. That's usually where we see the major difference, because the midterm elections before this national election, we saw a lot of younger people come out because choice was on the ballot. And so I think that if people really are concerned about Republican legislators being in and the Democrats want to fight back, or vice versa, then we'll see some younger folks come out. So I just because they don't watch the news doesn't mean, I think that just says that they don't trust us rather than they don't trust that their vote counts. Because I think this generation, the COVID kids, really did want to get out there and make a difference, because we saw a huge uptick in younger voters coming out for the general.
Ironically, this week is the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. Very quickly, the importance of that, the significance of it all to you.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, but it's incredibly relevant right now, because when maps get challenged after they're gerrymandered, usually the primary way that they're challenged is with the Voting Rights Act. So what the Voting Rights Act does is it makes sure that lines aren't drawn in a way that dilutes minority voting power, specifically Black voting power. It's specifically written with that in mind. And that happens all the time, because if you draw a district small enough, with whatever your target is in mind, then the minority never gets a voice when they vote. Mathematically, it'll never rise to the level that it needs to in order for them to be able to have a voice. And so it's a great relevance and importance to me, especially with what's going on in Texas right now. So it's so interesting that this was the anniversary. I'm glad you told me.
Yeah, yet again, something that we definitely wanted to make mention of. Speaking of making mention, a little birdie whispered in my ear that, well, there happens to be a little furry guy standing right next to you.
Yeah, I have dos beagles. So I've got two beagles, but Belle, my beagle, she has cancer and she just finished her radiation treatments. And this is her little paw print. She's 11 years old, and I'll grab her right here if that's okay.
Please do, so we
you
can
guys,
say
so
hi.
you guys can see her. Come here, baby Belle. Come here, baby Belle. She's.
That's what you call live TV, guys. One of the many things we like to do is highlight all things that are important to all of our guests that get a chance to join us right here on the Live Zone.
Yes, thank
well,
you.
isn't that
This
a
is
sight to
Belle.
see?
Yes, Belle the Beagle, PhD. She has a puppy hater degree. She's the Princess of America. Yes.
Well, Madeline,
And thank you guys for sharing Belle with me.
but of course, and our prayers are with you, and of course, Belle, as we continue we'll send positive vibes your way and well wishes.
Thank you.
Make it a great weekend,
Thank you so
Madeline.
much.
You bet.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Now the latest on the Jeffrey Epstein saga. The women rather, whom Jeffrey Epstein abused, demand to be heard. Some of their voices, long suppressed, are now emerging with power and courage. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is, hey, look who's back. Yeah, Mr. Michael Wilson, whistleblower attorney extraordinaire, is going to be joining us right after this break on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Obviously, all eyes still remain on that man you see right there on your TV screen, Jeffrey Epstein. The saga continues. The women whom Jeffrey Epstein abused now demand to be heard. Some of their voices, long suppressed, and are now emerging with power and with courage. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Michael Wilson, whistleblower attorney, back here on the Live Zone. It's been quite some time, Michael. Always good to see you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
But of course, let's start with the new lawsuit on the Epstein case, which seeks records of the Trump administration communications. This, in essence, Michael, looks to release the records detailing the handling of sex trafficking investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. What's the latest you can tell us?
Well, I think that's part of procedure. Listen, we're talking about taxpayers' dollars right now. and you're talking about government efficiency. And I think the taxpayers have a right to know about any investigation that the DOJ is conducting and what those results are. You're talking about public interest, public safety. And so I think that, there is a right to know.
With that, we know that First Lady Melania Trump shared a post on X in triumph yesterday after a Democratic strategist retracted claims disputed by her lawyer. What does this do, if anything, with regard to the optics surrounding not only the First Lady, but the president?
Well, as we know with President Trump, you have to walk very gently and, you're on eggshells. You definitely don't want any type of defamation suit coming back at you. But I think the optics are, listen, Trump has said that, he had communications and some type of relationship with Epstein back in the 90s and early 2000s, and he severed that relationship. I think that the focus here on any investigation should be on the Johns who paid for these women, who became victims. And that's where the investigation should be, besides other maybe potential political figures that Ghislaine Maxwell is withholding, if she is or not.
Yeah, I tell you, this thing has a script made for a movie. We'll end it with this, Michael, and that is a resurfaced line from a 2007 New York Post report has called into question as to whether or not Donald Trump actually booted Jeffrey Epstein from his Florida retreat. You see, nixed membership didn't in essence mean that Epstein stopped visiting the Florida retreat. The sex trafficker told the Post. There's speculation that in essence, he attended an event after getting booted out. What say you about this?
So as a whistleblower attorney in dealing with fraud, you look at particularity, you look at certain issues. You don't really go off anecdotal evidence. Everyone's got a story. There's always stories. What you need here is a who, what, why, when, where, the specifics. And so if there's an investigation, that's what you really have to focus on, are specifics. So maybe the victims, maybe the women can come forward and give these specifics here. Otherwise, there's all these conspiracy theories of, did Epstein commit suicide? Was it homicide? You have that new jail tape. Why is the DOJ not releasing everything? What happened in the interview with Maxwell to get her transferred to Texas to a minimum security prison, and she is convicted sex trafficker? So devil's in the details here.
Yet again, something we will continue to keep a close eye on. Michael, always good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the Live Zone. Make it a great weekend. You bet. Well, obviously, all eyes remain on the Middle East as well, as tension continues to rise within the Gaza Strip. At issue? Well, apparently, Israel now plans to take possession, complete possession, if you will, of Gaza. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Harley Lipman, foreign policy expert, yet again back here on the Live Zone. Harley, always good to see you, sir. Happy Friday and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good to see you as well. Happy Friday.
All right, so it's the big story of the day, at least within that region. We now know that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, now plans to, in essence, take complete control of the Gaza Strip. Some for it, some against it. What say you, sir?
Well, it's interesting. So I see at the bottom caption, says Israel plans to take control of Gaza City. But yet I heard, as you did, that Bibi Netanyahu has said that they're looking to make plans to take over all of Gaza. Well, it's a very difficult situation for Israel. They are trying to end this war. They are trying to get the Palestinian people to make sure that they live in a country where they have food and there isn't hatred and they can live in peace side by side as they had been for quite a while. And at this point, I don't know if Israel has many options. Hamas has walked away from the negotiating table. Even Witkoff has said that Hamas doesn't want to make a deal. And the problem with that is Hamas doesn't want to make a deal, at least partly because the European nations empowered Hamas and encouraged them not to make a deal. And the leader of Hamas has said explicitly that France, England, Spain have now called for a Palestinian nation. So he has said this validates and vindicates their policies and their strategy. So they feel, why should they make any concessions to Israel if the European countries are going to force Israel to do it on their own? So this is creating more starvation and more war.
Yeah, we also know that Vice President J.D. Vance also stating that the U.S. will not recognize, that is, Palestine as, in essence, a state. Very interesting. And then the response by so many is, well, what gives and why? To which many now speculate it's because Hamas continues to reign supreme within that region, and the U.S. no longer wants to deal with Hamas.
Well, not only the U.S. no longer wants to deal with Hamas, but the Arab League. This is the voice of the Muslim Arab nations in the Middle East. They call for the disarming of Hamas. They call on Hamas to surrender. Isn't that interesting? So Muslims want Hamas to surrender, but yet white Christian Europe is basically encouraging Hamas to hold out. This is an interesting array of new information here. And I go with the Arab Muslim world. I'm aligned with them. I think they understand the threats of a terrorist group like Hamas, which is worse than Al Qaeda and ISIS, because ISIS and Al Qaeda want to kill the infidel, but they don't want to kill their own people. But Hamas's strategy is precisely to have Palestinians die, so it galvanizes support for their war against Israel.
Harley, it's really interesting. We know that, as you and I both have touched on earlier during this segment, that, well, in essence, Hamas continues to rule. Not only that, but now we also know that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, now plans to take complete control of Gaza. However, the families of those whose loved ones remain hostages are crying foul, stating that should not be done. I'm curious your response to that, because there are two sides. One saying this needs to be done. The other, should that happen, well, they could very well lose a loved one.
You raise the right question, and Israel's in a very, very difficult position. So in terms of the hostage families, one could understand them. A guy, if you had a brother, a sister, a mother, a daughter being held in a tunnel and being starved to death, you would want your government to do everything possible to release them, no matter what. So their concerns are purely out of love and humanitarian. We get that. But sadly, that should not guide national policy, because if you agree with that, you're showing Hamas and every other terrorist group that taking hostages pays off and wins. And what are you going to say to the families the next time hostages are taken? What are you going to say to those victims' families? Oops, well, we're sorry that Hamas got more of your children. Well, what are we going to do now? You have to be able to take a stand that you shouldn't negotiate for hostages. And then the terrorist groups will stop taking them if they see they get no benefit out of it. So that's the mistake Israel made, starting with an Israeli soldier named Gilad Shalit. For one Israeli soldier, Israel gave up 1,200 Palestinian prisoners, among them Sinwar, who led the attack on Israel. But you don't go to war to free hostages, you go to war to defeat your enemy. And there is genocide here. The genocide comes from Hamas, that on October 7th went to murder, rape, and torture every single Jewish person they got a hold of, or kidnap them back and starve them in the tunnels for nearly 2 years. That is genocide. They are projecting, so when people use the word genocide, it's Hamas trying to commit genocide. They just were stopped by the Israeli army. And I want to make another really important point here, which deals with the media coverage of the Middle East. It's so filled with Jewish hatred and anti-Semitism. It's creating more violence and war. And it's shocking to see organizations like the New York Times collaborating. They show on the front page a child emaciated. When you see it, you're horrified. You feel really bad for this child. And the caption under it was one of, this is the result of Israeli efforts to starve Palestinians. Well, it turns out that this child had a pre-existing debilitative condition where it was cerebral palsy, and there was another child in the same situation. There were two different pictures of two different children. Yet no one noticed the mother, who appeared very healthy and well fed, and the brother standing there. Isn't that odd? How could the mother be well fed and look healthy and the brother and only the child? Obviously, the Times didn't meet up to the standards of professionalism, which has to raise questions as to why, which again speaks to Jewish hatred, plain and simple. They're, fulfilling what Lenny Rosenthal, if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, the Nazi propagandist did to promote the Germans. This is really what we're seeing here. And then when they issued a retraction to apologize, only a fraction of the people that saw it on page 1 didn't read it wherever it was printed on page 50 or wherever it was. So at least the Times should own up on the front page and correct that, because they're creating a narrative that accuses Israel of starvation when it's completely factually untrue. No nation in warfare has ever done so much to feed the enemy population than Israel. No nation in the history of the world.
Harley, we're going to have to leave it there.
There's so much unfairness going on.
Yet again, truly concerning, and something that, as you have done very well addressing. Yet again, Harley Lipman joining us right here on the Live Zone. We truly appreciate your time, sir. Make it a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, celebrating National Black Business Month. All that and more. And don't forget, MC Lyte joining us at 1 o'clock right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. So if you haven't heard, let me be the first to tell you. Well, take a look at your calendar. What do you see? You see the month of August, right? You know what happens in the month of August? We are celebrating all things National Black Business Month. And there's no better way to do so than with a young lady that's doing amazing things. In this case, I'm referring to Chantal Rochelle. She is an author. The name of the book, Where Did Grandma Go? Chantal joins us now right here on the Live Zone. Good to see you and welcome to the show.
So good to see you. So happy to be here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. First of all, congratulations. How cool is this? I always love it when I get a chance to chit chat with an author. And in this case, you have authored the book, Where Did Grandma Go? Do tell.
Yes, I mean, this book was born from a personal place for me. I lost my mother a few years ago, and in that loss, I found myself searching for a way to explain grief. And with going through the emotions myself, my niece, who was very close to my mom, started asking, where did she go? You know, what's going on? And so I was trying to figure out those answers for myself. And so I wanted to create something that could help kids and even adults like myself understand that love doesn't end when something ends or someone leaves this earth. The story really invites children into a safe space where they can imagine their loved one. And it's a place of beauty, peace, and joy. It's both a conversation starter and a gentle comfort.
Yeah, you have been doing amazing things throughout your life. Obviously, this is the new challenge that you took on, and you've done it oh so well. But in so many words, you're also an entrepreneur, and I want you to speak to the importance of, well, yet again, National Black Business Month, and why every day one should, in essence, focus on just that.
I mean, that's such a great question. When you're living your life and whether you're entrepreneur, whether you're writing a book, whether you are selling a product, it's really how you show up every single day, how I start my day, or slow mornings, or talk to people who I love and appreciate. I really think it's that foundation and that support system you have around you. With writing a book, I tapped my niece, who was 5 at the time, and I asked her to give me little notes on her hair and how she wanted things to look. And so I think it's the collaborative nature of who you have around you, like your support system, and truly what you want that ultimate end goal to be. Whether you want people to be touched by the words you wrote or you want them to love a product that you created, it's really the intentionality behind it. And so when you have that strong foundation, truly the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Should the focus really be, although many would probably argue no, but should the focus really be on, let's say, mom and pop businesses that happen to be owned by African Americans? They too perhaps are struggling with regard to raising capital in order to continue to thrive?
I don't think so. I think that in the sense of like mom and pop, I think it just depends on what type of capital you're trying to raise. I think it depends on, especially when it looks at like with my, book, I think it's very important to give independent publishers and companies a chance. I had the opportunity to work with Beaver's Pond Press, who you would consider a mom and pop shop, right? They are this independent book publishing company that took a chance on me. And I want to give a huge shout out to Lily Coyle, who just really, really encouraged this process of writing this book and really making the efforts and the opportunity so present for me. And I think that when it comes to mom and pop shops, if you're aligned with the right people, aligned with the right opportunity, you truly can achieve that goal.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We want to be aligned with you and standing in line in order to purchase your book, yet again entitled, Where Did Grandma Go? How can folks get their hands on it?
Yes, you can purchase it at tascabooks.com, ITASCA books.com, and search Where Did Grandma Go? You can also get it on Amazon.com. And yes, this book is a labor of love. I want it to touch people everywhere. Grief touches us all. And so whether you are fresh to it or you're 30 years out, I just want you to know that grief and joy can both coexist together.
Well, you tell that story oh so well. Yet again, we have been speaking with Chantal Rochelle, entrepreneur and author, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time. Make it a great weekend. All right, guys. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, it's no secret raising or working with sensory children requires a holistic lens, one that views feeding, communication, and regulation not as separate concerns, but as deeply interconnected functions of the body and brain. That's where my next guest comes into play. You see, she wrote a book that offers a whole-body approach for understanding and support the sensory child. Please welcome speech-language pathologist, author, and founder of Asperger's Go. This is Lauren Budd joining us right here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, Lauren. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I got to
Nice
tell
to be
you,
here.
I am so excited for you to be here. Why? Because we need to bring more awareness to this, what I would call not necessarily an issue, but something that will really, shall we say, pulls at the heartstrings of so many Americans. Every child is special. However, a sensory child, even that much more special.
I agree.
And so with that being said, why is it that you continue to focus so much day in and day out with regard to sensory children?
Sensory children have a lot of difficulties expressing themselves, and it's very hard. I have my own sensory issues. You know, if I'm seeing somebody stir a straw too much, you know, it
Sure.
drives me crazy. It goes through my skin like nails on a chalkboard. These children need to learn how to communicate, how to regulate their behaviors, desensitize and de-escalate anxiety. And a lot of people ignore that anxiety because they think that they're just behavioral children, but it's real and it needs to be validated.
Why do you think this is overlooked day in and day out so many times?
Well, I really think that a lot of the doctors, you know, we're working on treating the symptom, but we're not looking at the root of the problem and getting to the basis. And if you don't get to the root of the problem of the foundation, like from birth trauma, then it really, you know, doesn't help you to learn about where you have to go for your treatment plan. So if we do this Band-Aid fix, it's just covering it up. But we really have to look at birth trauma, where it starts,
Sure.
and where it starts is really at the pediatrician's office after the baby is born. So I think that we really need to work better as a collaborative approach with all medical professionals, therapists, schools, programs, making sensory rooms in a school at an earlier age so that the proprioception and all those feelings through the body and the mind work together, so the mind, body, and soul.
Perhaps that's why you decided to write the book, none other than The Sensory Child, to which you focus on whole-body approach. I absolutely love this, by the way. We're taking a look at it right now on our screen. A systematic whole-body approach to feeding, communication, and regulation. Why focus on those three, out of curiosity?
Okay, so my father, he was in the hospital, and hospice feeding tubes they were suggesting, and I said, no way, and he came out of the hospital within 3 days eating. Because I knew it was not a feeding disorder. Speech pathologists focus on feeding sometimes, okay, but you have to specialize in it. So we take 2 classes in school, that's pretty much it. And there's a lot of people who will say they're a feeding therapist, but they're really not necessarily so exposed to what I've been seeing. Feeding, we could encourage kids to eat from early intervention, but that doesn't mean you're really a feeding therapist, because you really need to know the anatomy, the structure, the foundation, medical, behavioral, and put it all together,
Sure.
the pieces. So my book, what inspired me was, you know, my father, first of all, when he had the, you know, issues in the hospital and I got him out and eating, he ended up coming up with the name Burgers Go, okay? So then I put as in front of it, and I didn't know what it meant. And then, you know, it just evolved. My whole business evolved. And what I was seeing is that I had like a few clientele with feeding issues. It was hit or miss. I always have been doing feeding for the last 30 years.
Sure.
However, the feeding just went crazy. I had about 25 clients on my caseload about 6 months ago. I have 50 clients a week
Wow.
right now, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm in doctor's office assessing tongue ties, lip ties, and cheek ties. I look at birth trauma of the proprioception and looking at, you know, what happened in utero that possibly had the effect on these children. These parents need me to spread the word. They need it to be heard. The doctors need it to be heard, because what's going on here is a lot of these children who gain weight, doctor says, you know what, they're on the growth curve, they're good, no worries. And let's just continue with them, you know, and let them eat and just put food in front of them. It's just a phase. They'll eat if they're hungry.
Sure, which that's not the case.
It's not the case. So I have these children who I've prevented from feeding tubes. that I go to the doctor's office with the clientele and I say, no, we're not doing a feeding tube because you didn't start with feeding therapy. You didn't look at the other aspects of it. Let's try first, and then we could always talk about this. So feeding is really a crisis and dilemma. The way that we do it, brain and gut health, it's so important. And these children, parents are struggling. They have like 2 items that a child's eating or 5 items on the repertoire. It's the life story that I hear every day. And then what happens is I'm sitting there seeing these children and I'm getting them to eat. And the first session, and we have neurodivergent children too, I have. So I have kids who are on the spectrum, can't communicate, nonverbal, autistic children, or processing issues or anxiety or anything, sensory issues. And I treat it accordingly based on getting to the root of the problem as a diagnostician, not just a therapist, and then treating the effect of what's going on.
This is obviously very near and dear to your heart. You are obviously very passionate about this, and so much so that I want to make sure we convey to our viewers how important this is. The biggest takeaway within your book, and I know that's hard because it's all good, but if there's one thing that you really want the reader to get across, that you wanted to get across rather to the reader, what would that be?
That you need to start looking at why is your child picky? Picky eating is not typical. If they're a picky eater, picky eating between ages 2 and 4 is typical development. But then 5 and 6, they should be eating by then. So 2 and 4, they might be a little picky, but if they're only eating 2 or 3 items, you know, they say like 5 items. You know, I don't want to talk about numbers. I think that these children are more than numbers. They have a heart, they have anxiety. Something you know as a parent is not right, get it checked out. Now, also like a funny story, Guy. I was in the Uber yesterday.
Sure.
Okay. And the Uber driver started like just talking to me and like we just felt that energy, and she just mentioned to me that she just had a baby and her baby's having difficulty eating. So I said, let me help you.
Wow.
And I helped her yesterday with her baby.
The right place at the right time.
Yes, and on the Amtrak, I take this book out and all of a sudden the woman sitting across from me, she says, I have that book at home. I said, why? Why came out of my mouth. I'm like, do you have a special needs kid? She says, no. I said, well, how? So I started going into all the WH questions, and I'm like, wait a second. So why do you have my book? And she said, my sister-in-law, someone gave her the book. So for me, I just wanted to be recognized, but also I was invited to a very important conference recently, and I also want parents to do genetic testing on their child. Because there's a chapter in this book called Renew. Capital R, lowercase e, capital N, capital U.
Okay.
It's a rare genetic disorder that just got discovered by scientists, okay, in the UK. They just came to New York. I was invited to this conference by a wonderful lady named Jessica, and I went to this conference and I was doing my book signing there, and I met some fabulous people. I met professor in Montana who is deaf, and I started signing with him. I know sign language fluently. And he didn't realize that I knew it, so I'm like, hi, you know, my name is so-and-so, like, you know, do you want to, you know, talk? So when I met all of these people, I met the children of this rare genetic disorder that just got discovered. And genetic testing is so important, so that needs to be spread. It is going to become a Netflix documentary. I met, like, the people from Netflix there. It was really a fabulous experience, but it really needs to be known also about that, because parents don't know where to go and what to do. So there's so much in this book that I offer, and there are case studies. It's a niche book. It has case studies of my actual clientele, fictitious names. The children got to pick out their own names. So I really, you know, would love to share this.
Well, now's the time to pick this up, guys at home. I'm referring to none other than Sensory Child, a systematic whole-body approach to feeding, communication, and regulation. By the way, just for the record, I'm still a picky eater.
Well, I can
and then
help
that's me.
you.
Thank you. So we're going to talk off air.
People are asking me to work with animals too. They call me the Caesar Milan of feeding. So like maybe I should start getting into that. I love animals too. So you never know.
All things sensory, all things success, and all things kind enough to join us on the Live Zone. I'm referring to Lauren Budd. She is a speech-language pathologist, author, and founder of Asperger's Go.
I also do workshops.
She does it all,
and I do
folks.
seminars, so I would love to do something.
We'll have you back.
Thank
all right,
you.
guys, we'll take a quick break. This is the Fox 5 Live Zone.
even feel safe around you.
You need to tell me what's going on.
Did he take you in that building? You know what that symbol means? It means plague. That guy keeps following me. What do you know about that place, huh?
What if we connected to these people? Like some karmic pattern.
This timeline is ending. I know who you are. Who you really are.
Now that's how you kick off a spooky Friday. The name of the film, Sight. You just saw it right there on your TV screen. It's all about a psychological horror thriller. And it stars this amazing young lady that's sitting right next to me. Yes, she went from Harvard University to starting her own university to becoming an actress to now starring in a, well, let's just say a primetime film. Please welcome Naegheen to the show. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Guy.
I am so glad that you're welcome. I am so glad that you're here today. So it's funny, we were walking over from the green room and I said, okay, Naegheen, I've been trying to pronounce your last name for like the last 5 minutes. Shame on me, I didn't get it, but let's give you your just due.
You did pretty well. Naegheen Homaifar.
There we go. Guys, you try saying that fast 3 times.
You can thank my parents for that.
I absolutely love your journey. You started, it really is a script made for a movie. You started at Harvard University, and it's so funny, I wanted to put my pinky in the air when I say that, because it's so prestigious. It really is. Congratulations. And then, well, you decided to start a university of your own. But wait, there's more, folks. Not only that, but you're now an actress, and you do it oh so well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, education has always been a really important part of my upbringing. My parents are immigrants to this country, and education was always seen as a tool for success. And it has certainly been a way for me to see the world, a way for me to figure out what it is that I want to do. And helping start a new university, Minerva University, was an incredible creative journey that led me to the next creative journey, which was acting and learning how to tell stories and play different characters like Aravan in this movie.
We're going to get to that in just a second, but I watched a promo with regard to the university, the one that you started. Gosh, it just pulls at the heartstrings. There are so many, let's say, testimonials of folks just describing what they went through, where they are, and because of what you started, where they are going. What does that mean to you?
It's really meaningful to me to have been part of something like Minerva, because Minerva is all about giving access to excellent education and experiences to the most talented people around the world, no matter how much their parents make. It's really about making educational access, you know, attainable for somebody regardless of their economic means. And there are some incredible, incredible people out there who want to do good, want to do amazing things for the world, and all they need is a chance and a platform. And so it's really meaningful to me to have been a small part of that.
Well, speaking of doing amazing things for the world, after looking at that trailer, I am truly amazed.
You want to apply, right?
Well, not only to the university, but to the I guess, what, acting school. That was awesome. In theaters yet again today, and I'm referring to the film, Sight. We just saw the promo, if you will, the trailer. This is somewhat spooky, Naegheen.
Yeah, this is something I'm watching with the lights on, for sure. I'm actually... it's hard for me to watch horror films.
Really?
I get scared really easily. And what was great about the film was making it helps me realize what it takes to make something thrilling. Just seeing like the special effects and the makeup was out of this world. I mean, when you see the film, you'll see what I mean.
Sure.
I think you get little glimpses of it, even in the trailer, of what happens to my face. I'm basically like burnt up, and the makeup artists were so talented. They basically made me a human Walking Dead person. And the day that I came out on set with that makeup on, I happened to be the only person being shot that day that was, you know, burnt to a crisp, and I scared somebody that was working on set. I walked out of the trailer and they went,
The question is, did you drive home like that?
No, they luckily helped take off most of that makeup, but I ended up at the hotel with the fake burns on my legs that we forgot to take off, so I had some sideways looks for sure.
This is not your first go-around with regard to acting. As a matter of fact, you partook in a show right here on Fox, if I can recall.
That's right. That was my first television gig called The Resident, where I got to play a neurosurgeon on the show The Resident.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my patient didn't make it. They died, but whatever.
Well,
Not a real
you've
death.
now gone to bigger and better things, and I'm sure they're in actor or actress heaven, living their best
Well,
life.
maybe I got my karma came around because I ended up dead in this film. So.
But can you speak to the difference with regard to acting in The Resident and
Yeah.
doing what you did with this film? How do you prepare for a role like that?
Yes, that's a great question because it is very different. When you're on a television show, oftentimes you get your script a few days before you're about to shoot. The lines can keep changing.
Wow.
And so you have to be really flexible in the moment, and you often don't have a chance to rehearse. With Sight, I had a little bit more time to prepare. There was a lot of historical references. The film goes through 3 different timelines. I'm at the 1970s timeline.
Sure.
And so I have to learn a little bit about what's it like to be a physicist, a woman scientist in the 1970s, who's Iranian, who's working in an American, military site. What's it like to have a very personal secret that I have to deal with. So there were many emotional layers I was able to explore more. And so the experience was different. It was a little bit more languorous.
Yeah. That is just awesome. It's just so cool. Anytime I get a chance to meet an author and or an actor, I'm just so intrigued because it is such a hard thing to do, I would argue.
It's not easy, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just to get to play different people. I'm in a couple of months. I'm going to be working on a play, and that's also a very different experience than TV or film. And you get to spend so much more time with a character. You get to rehearse for weeks on end, and you really live in that world for a long time. And so. Being able to play with these different mediums has been a lot of fun for me.
One of the things that you made mention of is that you happen to be of Iranian descent.
That's right.
You were also a woman, obviously. And with that being said, I would assume perhaps, and I'm taking a guess, perhaps you were faced with some roadblocks throughout your career as a result of just that. I bring that up because there's a young lady watching right now. She's looking at you. She's like, wow, I want to be just like her. Well, what advice would you give that young lady?
My advice is that who you are, everything that you represent, your identity, the way you think, the way that you look, those are actually all of your strengths. And to see what you are and what you represent as a reason you're going to be successful, the reason you're going to be able to connect with people. And so I would actually say to try not to see them as roadblocks, but as the reason for kind of all the good that can come to you.
Wow. Well said. And that's why she does it all so well. Make sure you enjoy the movie. It's in theaters right now, yet again entitled Sight. It's online as well, correct?
Yes, it's on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. And that's how I'm going to be watching it today with my friends and family.
Well, as you watch it, I'll watch it too, with the lights on. Yet again, we've been speaking with Naegheen. Last name one more time?
Homaifar.
I'm sorry, I should have practiced it a little bit more. Kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. Continued success to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. My next guest is not only extraordinary, but has made her mark in the music industry while becoming, shall I say, a trailblazer for women in hip-hop. From her groundbreaking hits in the 1990s to her inspiring work as an entrepreneur and actress, she has proven time and time again that talent knows no bounds. Please welcome me in joining hip-hop royalty. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one, the only, MC Lyte. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Oh, it is such a pleasure to be here with you all. Of course, we're on the road from one place to the next, and so we were dealing with some Wi-Fi issues, but it's such a pleasure to talk with you. How's it going?
I am doing amazing. MC Lyte, I got to tell you, you are the utmost professional. We had you in studio, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so. Always on time, always legit, always know your stuff. And I say that because you are royalty. Quite honestly, you deserve to be a diva. You didn't even have to show up, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, no, not once I've made the promise to be here.
So obviously, you are embarking on what is known as the one-on-one tour. This is truly something special. It's a celebration of resilience, empowerment, and the enduring legacy of hip-hop. And I would say that's all things MC Lyte.
Okay, well, I'll take that. And you know, the truth is we started this tour in February. So we did about 8 dates in February and then 10 dates in March. And then we went back out in April. And then we went to the Masters of the Mic tour, which is me with all of the fellas. So it's great to be back in the one-of-one stride. You know, we just did New York and Boston. And yeah, we're headed to you guys.
Yeah, I am so excited about this. I got to tell you, the station is maybe 2 or 3 blocks away from Bethesda Theater, where you are performing tonight. I've been peeking my head out the window every now and then just to see if I could see your, you know, you driving by, so I can run up to you.
That is funny.
With regard to the album, I was thinking about it. You took somewhat of a hiatus. It was, what, some 10 years before you decided to hop back in the studio and do your thing, which you do oh so well.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, Warren Campbell and I are really good friends. We met through Heavy D. And because of that union, we could organically move our way into music. It wasn't like we were in a rush. We just said, let's get in the studio, let's do some music. And it just so happens he's also my pastor. So we knew that we were like-minded individuals. I didn't feel any pressure to say anything that I didn't feel like I wanted to say, but most people will say or allow themselves to be led to say things that may not be aligned with who they are as people. And so, especially, you know, spiritually inclined folks. And so it felt good to just get in the studio, come up with some stuff. And we did quite a bit of recording, but then we landed on a song called Woman. And that song is with Big Daddy Kane, Raheem Devine, and Salt from Salt and Pepper. And that kind of kicked it off for us. And so on this record, we've got Mary Mary, we've got Money Long and Stevie Wonder, Common, Ghostface Killer, Q-Tip. The list goes on. We just really pulled out the stops.
Yeah, speaking of pulling out the stops, not only do you do that on stage, but I would argue you give back unlike any other. In this case, I'm making reference to the Hip Hop Sisters Foundation, which has awarded, count them guys, count it, over $1 million in scholarships, really helping those that are underprivileged and underserved.
Yes, hiphopsistersfoundation.org for those who feel like they want to give to a cause that looks to uplift and inspire young people. And that's what it's all about for us. We had a wonderful partnership with Wisconsin-Madison. We sent 4 individuals to further their education on $100,000 scholarships. And then we went and to visit Dr. Kimbrough, the hip hop president, is what we call him, at Dillard University at the time. And so we started a relationship with them, and we sent many young men to school there at Dillard University, which is such a pleasure to be able to say we've participated in.
Well, it's a pleasure having you on the show, and I got to tell you, it's going to be even more of a pleasure when we get a chance to check you out on stage tonight. As we wrap up, what can we expect from the one and only MC Lyte when you grab the mic and take to the stage?
Well, we are going to have a good time. We're going to take it on back, and we're going to bring it forward. But mostly, you know, I call it the living room at some point in the show, because I like for people to just drop all their inhibitions and realize that music brings people together. It unites us. And one thing I think we're missing, I mean, I love the internet. I love all that it does with all the social media platforms, but it does kind of rip away our need and desire to be close and be connected. And so this is a night where we get a chance to become connected with our neighbors in the audience. And we're just one big family having a cookout.
All we're missing is YOU. If you haven't already done so, don't get your tickets now, but right now.
Yes.
Yet again, MC Lyte performing tonight at Bethesda Theater, right down the street, as I like to say, from right here at the Fox Studios. Always good to see you. Truly appreciate you taking time out. I know you are a busy woman, no doubt. We'll see you tonight.
It's a pleasure. Mwah. Thank
Respect.
you. Take care.
No doubt.
Okay, God bless.
How cool is that? We'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, what to watch? Producer Chris joins us next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone with producer Chris joining us for a little What to Watch. By the way, the host of Do You Like It or Not?
Another thing you can watch on Friday nights before you fire up those other streaming apps start here on Fox Local. That would make me very happy because it's a Friday night and I just want to have some fun, all right? To be honest with you, normally, on any other given Friday, my weekend would have started like 6 hours before we go live on air. So, you know, I need a little something. I need some help. I need some help, people. So we'll flash that QR code at some point. I'll put it on my social, and then you guys can join the fun. And then you can go watch some of these things I'm going to recommend next. And I gave it one of these beforehand because we're talking about, remember the Addams Family?
Yeah.
We've got Season 2 of Wednesday, the spinoff of the Addams Family, streaming now on Netflix. We only had to wait 3 years, and you know what we were rewarded with? 4 episodes.
Wow.
8 episodes in the entire season, but they split it into 2 parts. If you saw season 1, you know Wednesday Addams goes to Nevermore Academy and gets herself involved in some, shenanigans. And similarly, she's involved in another mystery. This time around, it's a little darker this time. It involves her roommate, some dreams, some disturbing dreams. Let's just put it that way. Like I said, this season divided into 2 parts. First 4 episodes out now. The second half of the season drops in September. Jenna Ortega stars. Most of season 1's cast is back, including her family, Uncle Fester, Gomez. A lot of big stars in this one. I'll just put it that way. Also, some new faces, Steve Buscemi, and one of the standout scenes of season 1 was this viral dance that Jenna Ortega had done.
Sure.
And Lady Gaga had kind of like recreated. So Lady Gaga does have a cameo in
Oh,
season 2.
nice.
I'll just throw
Okay.
that out there. That's not really a spoiler. It was kind of announced ahead of time.
I saw this for the first time, maybe, 2-3 weeks ago. It's a great movie, man. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
We didn't, my wife and I watched it, and we were late to the party type of thing. We were big Tim Burton fans, obviously, famous for Batman and a lot of other, kind of off-kilter Beetlejuice, things like that. We got so sucked in. So we've been eagerly awaiting this season 2. I will just say, I kind of wish it came out a little closer to Halloween, so I'm probably going to save it for maybe when it all comes out. I'll probably watch it after that, when both halves come out. But yeah, you can check that one out now, streaming on Netflix. Next up, we've got season 2 of the show Platonic. This is Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. Now, this show is built around their chemistry. I just have to say, you may remember them from the movie Neighbors and Neighbors 2. They were a married couple in that. And this time, though, they're just best friends, longtime best friends. But that's kind of the gist of the whole series, is whether, guys and girls can be platonic friends. She's married, he's dating kind of casually in the first season. But really, their chemistry is what sells it. They're back for more hijinks. And like any long-term friendship, it gets a little messy as it ages. First 2 episodes out now on Apple TV+. Apple TV+ is interesting to me because what they seem to do is they sign huge stars and then give them not 1 but 2 shows. Because Seth Rogen also has the studio. Rose Byrne had another show on there. Everybody that... Patricia Arquette, she had a show, and she's in Severance. It seems like everybody gets 2 shows. And like one of them, I got to give Seth Rogen credit, because this one, I mean, both of his have been hits.
Yeah.
Both of them have been hits. This one, like I said, we watched the first season, and it really is just kind of, they're just so good together. And if you like the movie Neighbors, this is right up your alley. This next show, we had to wait we thought 3 years between seasons was a long time to wait. Try 15
No
years.
way.
The last time we got a new season of King of the Hill was in the year 2010.
Are you serious?
Yep. But they brought it back. Part of Fox's original animation domination. Remember, it was The Simpsons, it was King of the Hill, it was Family Guy, it was Futurama. They're bringing it back. This is Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis and Butthead, and one of my favorite movies of all time, Office Space, is the creative genius behind this. Basically, this picks up. It's supposed to be a time gap in this show, too. They are supposed to have moved overseas, Hank and Peggy. Now they're back in Arlen, Texas, to enjoy their retirement. Some of their, friends and neighbors still around. All 10 episodes of this one out now on Hulu and Disney+.
Oh, I got to check that out this weekend.
This was one of those shows, whereas The Simpsons and Family Guy, they were a little like, not to say like extreme, but they were a little more fantasy-based.
Yeah.
This was like a much more down-to-earth show if you've never seen it, because he was supposed to be a propane salesman. That's what he knew. He was just kind of out of touch. Life was kind of, things were changing around Hank, and Hank was not one for change. Let's put it that way. My brothers loved this show.
Yeah.
And they've brought back a lot of these kind of animated shows, Futurama, etc.
My favorite character happens to be his dad.
His dad, Cotton.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me.
Phenomenal. Unfortunately, a lot of the cast has, aged and passed on since then, but there are some shout outs, tributes, and little Easter eggs for the true fans. Also out there this week, we've got season 3 of The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. That's over on Disney+. We have a spin-off of Outlander. This is the erotic drama on Starz. This is a prequel. It's called Blood of My Blood. It's based on the book of the same name. And then for the football fans who won't be tuned in necessarily, well, you'll probably be tuned into the Commanders tonight, but we've got a new season of Hard Knocks training camp, this time following the Buffalo Bills. This over on HBO Max, I believe it's called these days. That's all of our new streaming TV shows. We have one new streaming movie. Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, Keke Palmer, and Ava Longoria. And in a stacked cast. This is called The Pickup.
Right.
Basically, it's your classic like odd couple. Think of like a buddy cop comedy, but they're armored truck guards. Eddie Murphy wants to retire. He's at the end of his career. Pete Davidson's the young brain dead, for lack of a better phrase, end up getting robbed by the character Pete Davidson plays, a one-night stand that he had.
Ooh.
So, you know, some
Okay.
swirling questions around whether he has a role in it or not. This one on Prime Video, if you're interested in checking it out, we were just kind of talking. It didn't get the best reviews.
Yeah.
We
Looks
love
a
Eddie
little
Murphy.
cheesy to me.
It does. We love Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, this follows along with what my theory has always been, that if you name a movie that has one former SNL star in it, I can almost always name a second SNL star that is also in that same movie.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
They really tend to kind of
Yeah.
work together. Bill Murray being one of the few exceptions with some of his more dramatic roles.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, good point.
So that's what's new to stream. Also tonight, obviously streaming. Do you like it or not? 7:30. We'll put that QR code out on social media. You can join in. You can join me. Have a drink, happy hour, and we'll have some fun. That's the way it goes.
Hey, speaking of have some fun, let's have some fun now because today happens to be a very special day. Chris.
International Cat Day, and for the first time I get to celebrate because I have Pepper, my adopted cat. We got her back in January, and she is just the best thing in the world. I love her so much. I mean, she's basically a liquid, if you can tell from that picture right there. She cracks me up every single day. That's how she likes to sleep on me every so often with her little pew pew paws. That's one of my favorite. That picture is actually the background on my phone, but she is just a delight, and she makes Molly and me so happy. All the stress from the day melts away when she's on you making those little biscuits. I wish she would sleep a little later, if I'm being honest with you. But I'm not the only one with a cat.
That's right.
Hanging out back here because I know producer Emmy also has one. Oh, is she a calico?
Oh, look at that.
Kind
Spotted
of
cat.
spotted.
Okay,
What's her
wow.
name? Ramona. That's
Hi, Ramona.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge cat fan. So show us the kitties. Show us the kitties. We'll show them. We'll have more tonight, hopefully, on Do You Like It or Not. And if you call in and you have a cat, I want to see your cat.
That's awesome. Yeah. 7:30 yet again right here on
We got to
the
get
Live
this
Zone.
guy. We got to get this guy a cat. Although we'd have to get him a lint roller.
Yeah,
too, not
really.
only suits.
I'd already used it once today. Producer Chris joining us. Don't forget tonight, 7:30. Check him out right here on Fox Local. Truly appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Happy
We'll take
Friday.
a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Summer happens to be my favorite time of the year. Why? Well, for many reasons. But one happens to be the zip trips. Yes, Fox 5 coming to a town near you. In this case, earlier today, they stopped by National Landing, which leads me to this, the top 5 spots that are a must-see.
Number 5, National Landing's bike trails. Experience National Landing like a local. Hop on your bike and take a ride down Arlington's trails with scenic views and colorful murals all around. Number 4, Freddy's Beach Bar and Restaurant. This is the only LGBTQ+ bar in Northern Virginia. Stop by for a burger or play some bingo. You can find some strong drinks and good food at this high-energy entertainment spot. Number 3, the Museum of Contemporary Art Arlington. This stop features both indoor and outdoor gallery spaces. You can check out one of the rotating exhibits at this large venue. Get creative and stop by for an art class as well. Number 2, National Landing Water Park. Don't plan to splash around here. Instead, plan to grab good eats at this outdoor food hall. Enjoy a sit-down meal or grab some drinks for happy hour. It's the place to meet up with your friends or plan a visit for a nice lunch date. And number 1, Longbridge Park and Aquatics Center. You can escape from the hustle and bustle of city life for a day on the green trails or in the water. This park is where to play sports or run your mile out on the trail. You can also take a class or swim laps at the state-of-the-art Aquatics and Fitness Center. This is your top spot for soaking up the summer.
Our faithful viewers have joined us here in National Landing in Arlington, Virginia. I love this neighborhood. Have you guys been enjoying it so far?
I have been.
Taylor's been here longer than the rest of us.
A full tour. It's a great morning. You know, the weather's fantastic. Can't complain about that. And there's so much more that this area has to offer than I ever knew.
Should I get into doing some cardio?
Let's get into some cardio.
Come on, I'm already doing my bouncing. I'm getting ready.
Let's jump in.
The hair's up. Ladies, can I take a spot? Am I good? Okay, so walk me through what we're doing in class.
We're doing a down bounce. So this one is heels are going to drive down.
Okay.
Good. You can add the arms. So
Ooh.
front and back.
So you're getting kind of everything worked out.
Everything.
Ooh.
We can jack it in.
You gotta have moves to be out here with us. Hey, ain't that right, DJ? Come on, breathe. Hey! Ah! Oh, let's go. Oh, y'all looking good today. That's gonna be incredible.
Hold on.
What you
Sorry.
Annie Mae's back in the baby.
Right now, I'm just gonna kind of make a vanilla latte. Just give it a few pumps of vanilla.
I love this idea.
And this is just something that anyone can do in their office, kind of have a cold brew station for lattes. It's a great opportunity. And if you would like to try that, it's a little vanilla latte.
Oh man, it's delicious.
See, no, you gotta.
Just
Which
very
one do I
young.
pour it in?
Wait, hurry
that
up,
one?
because I need to use that.
You better stop.
I need to use
Get
that.
out of my
Get over
face.
here.
Get out of my
Well,
face. Okay.
hey,
Oh, Steven, you know what's so funny?
time.
I don't hear any shaking, which means you forgot the
I
ice.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Oh no.
oh, that's okay, because guess what? Play with somebody else.
Hold it.
Look at that. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, okay, boom. Hey, who would team stay out? Nope.
No, I
Let's
don't
go.
even need it. I don't even need
Let's
it.
go. Look at that. Boom.
Where's the garnish? Where's the garnish?
How much fun have we had today,
We had
Steven?
so much fun, guys, and of course our fans had an incredible job. They're still going. Interns out there, everybody's in the.
I know where we're going.
Where you going?
Ask me.
Where you going?
We're going to Stafford next week for our
Stafford.
zip trip. So we only have what, I think 3 or 4 more.
We have Stafford, Frederick, and then National Harbor.
All
National
right,
Harbor,
and then
big
we will
show
wrap
there.
it up for the summer. But until then, we have had such a blast here at National
Bump
Landing.
it, shit. Kick with it. Jump out her. Just kick.
That's what you call having a bunch of fun, guys. The whole crew this morning at National Landing celebrating all things zip trips. As you heard Annie Mae make mention, next week they're going to be at Stafford. Mark it on your calendar. Show up and show out. We'd love to see you there. All right, guys, we'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, the Commanders. Yeah, they're going to take on the Patriots tonight. We'll get a preview next. John Booty joins us right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone on a Feel Good Friday. It's going to feel even better come tonight if you happen to be a Commanders fan. Why? Well, you probably already guessed it. Yes, the Commanders are going to take on the Patriots. Game time, 7:30. Yes, football is back in a major way. And if that's the case, that means this guy is back as well. Former NFL player and analyst John Booty back here on the Live Zone. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday to you, and good to see you too, brother.
I always get excited during this time of the year. Yeah, I love football, but it just gives me an excuse to chit-chat with you as well on TV.
Yeah, it's something, man, because these young guys, these new players got to come together tonight as a team to see where they are. Training camp is what it is. You're going against each other, but now you get a chance to show your play on the football field tonight as a team and as an individual.
Yeah. So obviously the Commanders, they're taking on the Patriots. We know that they had a joint practice earlier this week. And, well, John, to put it plain and simple, things got kind of testy between the two.
Well, that happens. You know, when you go against another team, you're doing a joint practice, and you take it easy on your own guys. But when you're going against somebody else, you want to get a little spark going. So somebody may have said something, or somebody may have did a little late hit. And it's the dog days of summer, and it's hot out there, and guys don't want that extracurricular. So they just start an extracurricular by getting a little testy and getting into each other's face.
Yeah. All right. So obviously this is the first preseason game for the Commanders. We know Jaden Daniels not playing. Terry McLaurin, we're going to get to that in just a second. He too, perhaps not even showing up. Don't know as yet, and maybe you can tell us. But I'm curious from an NFL fan perspective, and so let's just say I love football. Why should I watch tonight? And then what am I looking for if, let's say, the star players aren't going to be on the field?
Well, you want to see those rookies. You want to go out to the game, support your team, of course, but you want to go and support those rookies who is not going to play, the new guys who are on the team. I mean, not going to play, but the new guys on the team that's going to play tonight, the rookies that are going to play tonight, the second and third year guys who were on the team last year, see where they are this year. They're hoping they're not going to have a step back or a sophomore slump. But again, it's all about that cohesiveness. The guys who are not starters last year and the free agents who came on board and these rookies who are trying to make a team, they want to showcase themselves. So fans, support your team.
Yeah. John, obviously you played for many years and did it oh so well. That first preseason game for you, and perhaps maybe from two different perspectives, the first time you actually played, to think that, oh my God, I'm in the NFL. Yeah, it's a preseason game, but I'm playing. And then later on, obviously you were a veteran, and I would assume standing on the sidelines, as you should be perhaps, during that first game, preseason game, and then really providing some knowledge to those that are getting their big shot.
Well, you're right. You know, that first preseason game, I think I was with the Jets at the time. We were in Montreal, Canada, I believe, playing the Cleveland Browns. And I'm like, wow, it's finally happening, man. I'm on an NFL team for the preseason. I am going to earn myself give myself the chance to get out on the field and play. And I did. And I had a welcome to the NFL moment that happened to me. But I jumped right up and say, listen, I'm in this game, man. This is pretty freaking cool, you know. And then as a veteran, you get long in the tooth, and you're like, hey, I've been there, done that. I really don't need these preseason games to get started. But I do know that I need to get it in some kind of way so I can get ready for the first game of the season as a veteran. So let your young rooks and your first and second year guys play. Let them get some experience. I know what I'm doing.
Translation, I woke up like this.
Yeah. Oh, hey, man, it's just a game. I mean, it's a game of a lot of gladiators out there and other veterans and other players who are super athletic. But your mindset got to be just that. Player's mindset got to be super athletic and say, listen, I've been there, done it. I've seen a lot on the field. My experience is going to take over.
All right. So obviously all eyes are going to be on the game. Yes, we want to see the Commanders, but let's just be real, John. The big talk of the town is what the heck is going on with Terry McLaurin? Do we know if he even traveled to Foxborough to take part?
I don't know. But the deal is he's sometimes they let things linger. I do believe behind the scenes or that the media, that the fans don't know they're working out something. You know, he's on the contract. everybody knows that, but he's in camp. Don't know if he's going to travel tonight. But again, it's an opportunity for them to say, listen, we're going to see what we have tonight. The other players got to step up, and then we'll say, okay, now it's time. It's getting closer to the season, so let's get this thing taken care of.
Yeah, well, if it's not Terry McLaurin we're talking about, we'll end with this. It happens to be, well, the other star of the team. Pretty much the star of the NFL, I would argue. We're talking about the QB, Jaden Daniels. Obviously not playing tonight, but the question is, what should we expect from him throughout the season? I mean, you know, rookie last year had an amazing season. He should have grown some way, form, or fashion, should he have not?
Well, yes, because each year, I don't care if you're a quarterback or a special teams player, you want to get better every year. And now that teams have a lot of film on him and knows his weaknesses and his strengths, they're going to keen in on that. They're going to hone in on what he does best. And they're going to say, listen, if they know him, he's going to improve on certain areas. His mindset, mental for the quarterbacks, how you deliver the ball, how you break, how you reach a defense as soon as you get up to the line of scrimmage, how you do the checks. So that's going to be his biggest thing this year. He got the athletic ability, got the arm, and he's mentally tough. But we always say this, and we don't want the players, to have a sophomore slump. They don't kind of revert back to some bad habits or not have that year that you think you can have. But I don't think that's going to happen to Daniels. He's going to make sure that he's on the ball every freaking day.
We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. No, that's fun. Hey, real quick, before we let you go, I want to shout you out as well. You were in Philadelphia last night. Correct me if I'm wrong. What the heck is going on there, John?
Well, I was sitting up. We had our reunion last night. The Legends came in for a preseason game, and Dave Spadero said, "John, you want to try these on? You want to put these on?" I said, "Sure, of course, man. That ring is unbelievable." He gave me the one they won in 2018, and last year, that thing you push a button, the wings come out.
Wow.
So I'm like, God. I'm like, hey, he said, just showcase it around for a minute. I said, okay, I wore things like I earned
it. You know what? I was going to make mention of that. I have not seen you smile that big ever before.
Hey, man, and I understand the price of those things, too. Wow. It's a wow factor on that, man. So,
the only problem, John, is that it happens to be for you-know-who.
I know
those dreaded Eagles.
I knew who was coming there. I'm like,
Either way, we love you, man, and congratulations yet again. Truly a legend.
Team effort for us, man. We're part of the team.
No doubt.
Effort.
John Moody joining us on a Feel Good Friday, NFL analyst and former NFL player right here on the Live Zone. Make it a great weekend and go Commanders. We'll take a quick break.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live. So it's so funny. I ran to the green room. I got all my friends there. Shout out Vernon, Miles, Cam, and then I bring this guy back, Al Reynolds, media personality extraordinaire, joining us right here on the Live Zone. By the way, in about 17 minutes, you can catch Vernon, Cam, and you on the Take at 2. All right, so we're doing our Friday Talkers, Al. In this case, we're talking about some of the stuff that you folks at home are discussing. You ever hear the term music soothes the soul of the savage beast?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Right. No, you got it right.
In this
You
case,
got it right.
but the beast needs to catch the beat. Get this, according to a newly released study, some people really don't feel the beat. Don't even feel pleasure from the beat. It's a condition, a musical condition that's, well, it's quite honestly, the medical term is too hard for me to pronounce, so I'll leave it alone. But it's where there's a disconnect between brain regions that process sound and those that process reward. In other words, you can't really feel the beat to make you happy to then make you dance. Why are you laughing, Al?
Because I've had too much coffee. But thank God it explains why some people have no rhythm. And I'm not going to name the class that doesn't have a lot of rhythm, but this makes total sense to me. So now I don't have to feel bad being shady when I see people that don't have any rhythm with the beat. Now I know that they got a problem. Right?
Now, I would argue there's some in our community that don't have the beat.
You had to have the beat if you went to my mama's church. But.
That is so true. That is just so funny to me. I cannot imagine putting on my favorite song and not feeling it, not being able to recognize it, and then moving my body with it. It's just so weird.
I mean, you have worked in music for like 30 years or 20-some years, I get it. But yeah, you're right. But I am so glad that they have finally put a term to this sickness, because I used to think that people were just like not in tune. But it actually is a weak signal in the central nervous system. Can you believe it?
Gosh, all right. Well, you got to believe it now. Drop the mic on that one. Are you a big fan of French fries?
I love French fries.
Oh my gosh, you and me both. Your
When I
favorite?
tell you, favorite. Like with a whole bunch of ketchup, like just sodium on top of sodium on top of sodium.
You talking McDonald's fries or?
I love McDonald's fries. I gotta be honest with you, Guy. I like all French fries. I like big French fries, small French fries, square French fries, round French fries, waffle fries. I like French fries. There's something about that fried potato, buddy,
Oh gosh,
that
I'm
takes
telling
it
you.
to another level.
You left one out for me. It happens to be Thrasher's fries. And oh my gosh,
What are
Al,
Thrashers?
you haven't had French fries till you had Thrasher's fries on the boardwalk in Ocean
That sounds
City.
illegal.
Well, let me get to this in this case. We love French fries, but apparently it's not too healthy for us to eat them a lot. A new study finds that eating 3 servings of French fries a week increase the risk of you coming down with type 2 diabetes. 20% chance, higher percentage of that happening should you have French fries, not once, not twice, but 3 times a week.
Well, I'm good, because I have it 4 or 5 times a week. I'm good. I'm solved. I don't have not one worry, because I eat French fries a lot. I find like it's my favorite comfort food. If ever I'm in a bad mood, I just go to McDonald's. I get a big old thing of fries with a whole bunch of ketchup, and I just take it all in.
Yeah, okay, so now do you pour the ketchup on top of the fries, or do you, so for me, I'll pour a little ketchup and then I'll dip the fries in the ketchup.
You look like a dipper. No, you pour it all over it, and then you take a fork and you just shove it all in. It's so good. But I do have days, though, when I'm trying to be very proper, where I'll have one French fry and I'll pull the ketchup across the French fry like that. That's when you know your pockets are light and you want your French fries to last.
I got you on that one. In the words of LL Cool J, don't call it a comeback. In this case, it's a major comeback. What am I making reference to? Marriage. Get this, Al. According to a newly released study, divorce now on the decline, with people staying married more on the rise. The study found that more kids are growing up in married households, and that the trend is even showing up among black families, with a nearly 30% increase within the last 2 decades. This is good news for those that are looking for love forever.
Listen, I tried it. They can have it. No, I'm kidding. Okay, marriage is great for some people. I think, though, that the reason why this statistic is skewed, because I know a lot of people, especially in Gen Z and Gen Y and Gen X, they're not getting married.
Yeah.
They're just simply not getting married. And I think the older generations like mine, it's cheaper to keep her. So I think that's why they're lasting longer. I'm not sure if I really understand or believe this statistic or these new trends here. But, I mean, if people are getting married and they're staying married and it's a healthy environment to raise great kids, I'm here for it all.
You know, it's really interesting to me, and I might not have the numbers completely correct, but I'm somewhat close, and that is, I think you can get married for around $100, let's say, with a marriage license.
Oh, with a license.
It costs a minimum of 10 grand
To get out of it.
To get out. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it sounds like a good business model. That's a good business model for me.
All right, so you're coming up on the take. Yet again, Vernon
Yes.
Miles going to join you. I saw my guy Cam back there as well in the green room. What are you guys going to be talking about?
Oh, we're talking about all things PG County, all things Maryland, a couple of DC stories, and also Virginia. I mean, we're going to have a great mix today, and I can't wait. We're going to talk about HOAs and all that crazy stuff. So, everyone, you must come tune in because it's going to be some shade thrown today.
Yet again, starting at 2 o'clock. If you haven't already done so, download the Fox Local app. Real quick, I got about a minute left. Speaking of downloading, you do an amazing job on YouTube with your show as well.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you know, I do Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. We cover celebrities that are in trouble with the law. We have lawyers that teach us the law. It's a really great show. If you are interested in true crime meets shade, then you got to come check us out.
And perhaps no one's more shady than this guy.
We'll catch up.
Al Reynolds, media personality, joining us right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
They didn't feel safe around me.
You need to tell me what's going on.
Did he take you in that building? You know what that symbol means? It means play. That guy keeps following me. What do you know about that place, huh?
What if we connected to these people? Like some karmic pattern.
This timeline is ending. I know who you are. Who you really are.
That's how you kick off a spooky Friday. The name of the film, Sight. You just saw it right there on your TV screen. It's all about a psychological horror thriller, and it stars this amazing young lady that's sitting right next to me. Yes, she went from Harvard University to starting her own university to becoming an actress to now starring in a, well, let's just say a primetime film. Please welcome Naegheen to the show. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Guy.
I am so glad that you're welcome. I am so glad that you're here today. So it's funny, we were walking over from the green room and I said, okay, Naegheen, I've been trying to pronounce your last name for like the last 5 minutes. Shame on me, I didn't get it, but let's give you your just due.
You did pretty well. Naegheen Homaifar.
There we go. Guys, you try saying that fast 3 times.
You can thank my parents for that.
I absolutely love your journey. You started, it really is a script made for a movie. You started at Harvard University, and it's so funny. I wanted to put my pinky in the air when I say that because it's so prestigious. It really is. Congratulations. And then, well, you decided to start a university of your own. But wait, there's more, folks. Not only that, but you're now an actress, and you do it oh so well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, education has always been a really important part of my upbringing. My parents are immigrants to this country, and education was always seen as a tool for success. And it has certainly been a way for me to see the world, a way for me to figure out what it is that I want to do. And helping start a new university, Minerva University, was an incredible creative journey that led me to the next creative journey, which was acting and learning how to tell stories and play different characters like Aravan in this movie.
We're going to get to that in just a second, but I watched a promo with regard to the university, the one that you started. Gosh, it just pulls at the heartstrings. There are so many, let's say, testimonials of folks just describing what they went through, where they are, and because of what you started, where they are going. What does that mean to you?
It's really meaningful to me to have been part of something like Minerva, because Minerva is all about giving access to excellent education and experiences to the most talented people around the world, no matter how much their parents make. It's really about making educational access, you know, attainable for somebody regardless of their economic means. And there are some incredible, incredible people out there who want to do good, want to do amazing things for the world, and all they need is a chance and a platform. And so it's really meaningful to me to have been a small part of that.
Well, speaking of doing amazing things for the world, after looking at that trailer, I am truly amazed.
You want to apply, right?
Well, not only to the university, but to the I guess, what, acting school. That was awesome. In theaters yet again today, and I'm referring to the film, Sight. We just saw the promo, if you will, the trailer. This is somewhat spooky, Naegheen.
Yeah, this is something I'm watching with the lights on, for sure. I'm actually... it's hard for me to watch horror films.
Really?
I get scared really easily. And what was great about the film was making it helped me realize what it takes to make something thrilling. Just seeing like the special effects and the makeup was out of this world. I mean, when you see the film, you'll see what I mean.
Sure.
I think you get little glimpses of it, even in the trailer, of what happens to my face. I'm basically like burnt up, and the makeup artists were so talented. They basically made me a human Walking Dead person. And the day that I came out on set with that makeup on, I happened to be the only person being shot that day that was, you know, burnt to a crisp, and I scared somebody that was working on set. They just, I walked out of the trailer and they went,
The question is, did you drive home like that?
No, they luckily helped take off most of that makeup, but I ended up at the hotel with the fake burns on my legs that we forgot to take off, so I had some sideways looks for sure.
This is not your first go around with regard to acting. As a matter of fact, you partook in a show right here on Fox, if I can recall.
That's right. That was my first television gig called The Resident, where I got to play a neurosurgeon on the show The Resident.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my patient didn't make it. They died, but whatever.
Well,
not a real
you've
death.
now gone to bigger and better things, and I'm sure they're in actress heaven, living their best life.
Well, maybe I got my karma came around, because I ended up dead in this film. So.
But can you speak to the difference with regard to acting in The Resident and doing what you did with this film? How do you prepare for a role like that?
Yes, that's a great question, because it is very different. When you're on a television show, oftentimes you get your script a few days before you're about to shoot. The lines can keep changing.
Wow.
And so you have to be really flexible in the moment, and you often don't have a chance to rehearse. With Sight, I had a little bit more time to prepare. There was a lot of historical references. The film goes through 3 different timelines. I'm at the 1970s timeline.
Sure.
And so I have to learn a little bit about what's it like to be a physicist, a woman scientist in the 1970s, who's Iranian, who's working in an American, you know, military site. What's it like to have a very personal secret that I have to deal with. So there were many emotional layers I was able to explore more. And so the experience was different. It was a little bit more languorous.
Yeah. That is just awesome. It's just so cool. You know, anytime I get a chance to meet an author and or an actor, I'm just so intrigued because it is such a hard thing to do. I would argue.
It's not easy, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just to get to play different people. I'm in a couple of months. I'm going to be working on a play, and that's also a very different experience than TV or film. And you get to spend so much more time with a character. You get to rehearse for weeks on end, and you really live in that world for a long time. And so being able to play with these different mediums has been a lot of fun for me.
One of the things that you made mention of is that you happen to be of Iranian descent.
That's right.
You were also a woman, obviously. And with that being said, I would assume perhaps, and I'm taking a guess, perhaps you were faced with some roadblocks throughout your career as a result of just that. I bring that up because there's a young lady watching right now. She's looking at you. She's like, wow, I want to be just like her. Well, what advice would you give that young lady?
My advice is that who you are, everything that you represent, your identity, the way that you think, the way that you look, those are actually all of your strengths. And to see what you are and what you represent as a reason you're going to be successful, the reason you're going to be able to connect with people. And so I would actually say to try not to see them as roadblocks, but as the reason for kind of all the good that can come to you.
Wow, well said. And that's why she does it all so well. Make sure you enjoy the movie. It's in theaters right now, yet again entitled Sight. It's online as well, correct?
Yes, it's on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. And that's how I'm going to be watching it today with my friends and family.
Well, as you watch it, I'll watch it too, with the lights on. Yet again, we've been speaking with Naegheen. Last name one more time?
Homaifar.
I'm sorry, I should have practiced it a little bit more. Kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. Continued success to you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, just a quick reminder, we are just 1 minute away from the take. You can continue streaming on Fox Local and Fox 5 DC YouTube page. By the way, speaking of minutes away from the swearing in of Ward 8 Council member Trayon White back into the DC Council. This after his special election win for the Ward 8 seat he previously lost due to federal bribery charges. Also, President Trump, he will make a cameo. Yes, he's meeting with several world leaders. And then at 7:30 tonight, oh, I absolutely like this, but we're talking about Do You Like It or Not? Producer Chris hosting that. Make sure you check him out. And you can scan the QR code to download the Fox Local app or visit us at fox5.com/@fox5DC. On behalf of my producer, Remy, I'm Guy Lambert. Make it a great weekend. The Take coming up next right here on Fox 5.